Okay, let's look at number 1. Marco paid $36.89 for 8.6 gallons of gas. What is the price of 1 gallon of gas? Anytime they give you the total and they ask you to break it up into equal parts, and then you want to find out how much each part is, that would be division. This is in 7th grade called the unit rate. So I want you to keep that in mind. Anytime they ask you to find out how much 1 is, 1 unit, 1 gallon, that's called the unit rate. And we solve this simply by dividing. So what we do is the following. We'll take our $36.89. Let's just cover up the answers here because you don't need to know the answers if you know how to do it. You don't need multiple choice. So we'll put the total of $36.89 divided by 8.6 gallons. Now, as I told you numerous times, the first number, the numerator, goes inside the house. $36.89 divided by 8.6. Now, this will be, the first number is also known as the dividend, the second number is known as the divisor. It's very important that you stay neat because when you're dividing, every number inside the house has to be represented with a number on top of the house. Now, when there is a part of a whole number outside the house, in this case 8 6/10, it's not a whole number. You have to move the decimal to make it a whole number. In this case, if we move the decimal 1 time, it becomes an 86. So whatever we do outside to the divisor, we have to do inside the house to the dividend, and once we make that move, we bring the decimal on top of the house. And we don't have to deal with our decimal anymore. So we proceed to divide, and we ask the following questions. Does 86 go into 3? It doesn't. I would like you to put a 0 on top of the 3 until you get extremely comfortable dividing. Does 86 now go into 36? It still does not go into 36. And now the question is, does 86 go into 368? Because our decimal is no longer here, so it's 368. We brought our decimal up here. So, does 86 go into 368? Obviously it does. We have to figure out how many times. So what you have to do is estimate. Now we see this 36 and we see the 86. And what I would do, and what you should do, because 9 times 4 is 360, estimate this as a 90 and that as a 360. Try to find the numbers that complement each other. 90 times 4 is 360. So we'll try 4, and we'll come over here, and we'll say 86 times 4, and we carry the 2 here, is 344. So that would definitely be a 4. We'll put our 344 down here. 8 minus 4 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. The next step would to bring down the 9. We know 86 goes into 249. Now we know it's not 4 times because that's 344. And if we look, there's a couple of ways to do this. We can look and say, well, 100 minus 100 is 244. So this would be 5 more than that, so that would be 95 away. That's an 86. So 3 is too much. So we could say 2. 86, and I'm over here, times 2 is 12, is 172. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to say 9 minus 2, and let me make this smaller so you don't lose me here. 9 minus 2 is 7. I'm going to borrow from the 2. 14 minus 7 is 77. Now, since I'm looking for a dollar amount, I'm going to have to keep going. I'm going to add a 0 here. I'm going to bring it down, and this becomes a 770. So I know 86 times 10, I just add a 0 to the 86, and I get 860. I know that's too much. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to say 770, 870, so this is 90 away. You got to start recognizing the numbers here. If this is 770 and 86 times 10 is 860, it's 90 away. Unfortunately, 9 is going to be too much, so I know it's going to be 8, and I'm going to have 86 times 8 is 48, 64 and 4 is 68, and I have 688. I'm going to borrow, make that a 6, 16, so I have 82. Now let's look at our choices. I have 329, I know that's out. 389, I know that's out. And now I have 409, and I know that's out. I know that my answer is 429, but when I look down, I see 428. And I'm like, wait a second, did I make a mistake? No, you didn't make a mistake, because if you were to continue, and you say 86 doesn't go into 82, if I bring down another 0, 86 goes into 820. Now I know it's going to be 9 times, because 8 is 688. So 9 times 86, and I'm over here now, 86 times 9 is 54, 72 and 5 is 77. Let's check. 9 times 6 is 54, 72 and 5 is, so I have 774. Now there's no reason to keep going. Even though I'm not finished, there's no reason to keep going, because we're talking about money. And money, the dimes are in the tenths, and the pennies are in the hundredths. So what I do is I look at the 9 in the thousandths. If it's 5 or more, I'm going to make this 8 a 9. If it's 4 or less, I would keep it the 8. But in this case, I'm going to make this 8 a 9, and the answer is $4.29. The answer is D.